Hello, beautiful Golden Anchor quilting community. Thank you for spending time with us here on our YouTube channel. Whether you're watching with our live chat option or later on, we appreciate the time you spend with us here in the shop, on our Facebook page. Everywhere that you engage with Golden Anchor Quilting means the world to us. My name is Louisa Grindle. I own Golden Anchor Quilting with my husband, Darren Grindle, who's our long arm quilter. And we couldn't do what we do without our incredible team of ambassadors. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, for everything you do to help us keep things running smoothly. Tonight, we're going to share some exciting shop news, talk about some new fabrics in the shop, and then make a small cord keeper together. A few months back, we made an iron cord keeper, a bigger wrap for bigger cords. And tonight, we're going to make one with smaller cords. I just realized I don't know where I put the sample for like the fourth time. I've lost the sample. It's okay. I don't have any pockets. I think we're having fun. All right, so let's get on with the exciting shop news. We are registered for our dealership training with Bernina. Darren and I will be traveling to Chicago in March, and we'll be getting dealership and tech training so that we can do Bernina sewing machine repairs on top of the sewing machine repairs that we already have here. And when we come back, we will launch our Bernina sewing machine dealership. We're really excited to make this journey and add the resource of being able to have new machines for folks in our community to purchase. We're excited to learn about Bernina and all of the wonderful things that they do. And we will share all of the specifics of the dealership launch and all of the specials that we'll have with all of you as soon as we have them. So while we're gone, the ambassadors are going to keep the shop running for us. We're going to pause classes for that week to make sure that they don't have to try to manage classes and the front of the shop. But as soon as we get back, we'll have a wonderfully full class calendar going on for April and May and June and into the future. So that's one big bit of news. The other big exciting piece of news that goes along with the new Bernina dealership is that we have Brother Luminaire XP2s with an XP3 software upgrade that have a whole bunch of extras that will come with them, as well as your first annual service with an authorized Brother dealership and some special discounts on embroidery supplies with us for a year after purchase. And those are going to be available for purchase at an amazing price that if you're interested in one of the 7 that we have, give the shop a call or send an email to Louisa at goldenanchorquilting.com. The shop phone number is 603-543-3311. We would be so thrilled to connect you with one of those incredible machines at a really awesome price as we make the transition from a Brother dealership to a Bernina dealership. So let us know if one of those machines is in your near future. We also have our Quilt of Valor retreat coming up March 28th through 30th. March is going to be a really big month for us. So March 28th through 30th, we have a conference room reserved at the White River Junction VA, and we'll be able to set up our sewing machines on Friday morning, stay set up until Sunday, and have up to 60 people sewing with us. We have about 35 registered right now, so there's still space to register for the retreat. It's a free retreat. Even though we're not necessarily working on your projects, we're working on projects for a really good cause. We're going to make quilts that give veterans a hug and say thank you to them for what they've done to keep our country safe over the time span of their lives. So we're going to have a free quilt retreat. You get to come, set up, stay set up, sew away. We've got kits made up. This week we had 2 kit cutting days. And we ended up with 15 kits cut and ready to go, as well as a few people who took some fabric home to work on cutting some more kits. So you can either bring your own project or you can work on one of the kits that we've got pre-cut. And then after that retreat, we're going to start looking for folks who can help us get the long arming done and all of those quilt tops. And then we'll have a binding party. And then we're going to have a beautiful big presentation of Quilt of Valor at the VA in White River sometime in late summer this year. We're really excited. It's our first time doing this. We plan to make this an annual event and hope that we can have a much bigger impact on specifically the veteran community around us here in New England. We do have some classes that sort of stay on our calendar every month. You may have heard me talk about them. 12 months of gifts. And we have for March and April. March, we are going to make these clutches. The pattern name is the Big Baby Clutch, but I wanted to show you that it really doesn't have to be just for baby stuff. The pattern was originally designed to hold a pack of wipes and a diaper and a tube of Desitin and, you know, just the little things that you need to change a diaper, but it could be for so many other things. The other night I used this one as a little clutch to go over to Market Basket and get groceries. Just tucked my essentials in there and went over. The flap here in the pattern is optional. It can be made with a snap closure like that one or a button closure like this one. And it can be made with or without the little strap that can be like this, or we could add a wristless strap. There's a lot we can do to vary this. It's made with 3 to 4 fat quarters, depending on whether you want the lining of this pocket to be different, like it is on this one, or the same like it is on this one. It's also scrap friendly. You could make the exterior out of orphan blocks. Lots of fun stuff you could do with this one. So that's our March 12 months of gifts class, which will be on the 2nd Saturday and the 4th Tuesday of March. And then April will be the casserole carrier. We did a casserole carrier last year in 12 months of gifts, but it was a very different style. This one actually has handles that come above your casserole. This is made with Insul-Bright, which is a thermally insulative batting that will help keep things cool or warm depending on what you put in. And it can hold up to a 9 by 13 casserole dish, and also has the option of putting snaps along here so that those flaps will stay closed while you are carrying your item. So those are our next 2 12 months of gifts classes. And a reminder that 12 months of gifts this year, for every 5 you attend, your 6th class is free. Some folks are already starting to fill up those numbers, even though we've only had 2 classes so far. So thank you so much for your support of that program. We're going to continue to have open sews every Thursday, $10 to come sew, and spend some time with other people who enjoy sewing and quilting as well. Once we have the classroom restocked with Bernina, we'll get back into the opportunity to rent one of our machines. Right now, we've got some basic sewing machines like this one, some goodies, some oldies but goodies, some beautiful vintage machines for folks to sew on here in the classroom. Or you can bring your own machine from home and work on that for open sew. So that's our little class update. We have some new fabrics. This quilt behind me, can we go back to talking for a second? So I saw a picture of this quilt out of these fabrics and was just so tickled with how intricate it looked without being hard. These 2 fabrics are both essentially cheater prints from a line by Marcia Durst, and I fell in love with that concept. And then, of course, when I went back to find the pattern, couldn't find the pattern. So I'm working on making up the pattern that works and the dimensions for how to cut that. And then we're going to have some fun with how we quilt it. But I wanted to share the other fabrics in this line that we got. They're also on bolts behind me, but a little bit of a closer up. So this one's in the quilt, and this one's in the quilt. The black circles and the colorful sort of almost looks like a string quilt, but it's already put together. And then there's this fun kind of postage stamp one. It's not my typical style of fabric, but I fell in love with it when we saw it and just thought that you might enjoy it too. This one has some actual postage stamp images, kind of collage-like. I thought this would make a fabulous bag. But I would love to know what other things people feel inspired to make with these really fun, funky fabrics. This one has circles and little chicken feet. I don't know. What kind of animal foot is that? But just fun stuff going on. And we'd love to know if you love these, if you'd like us to have more like them, and what you think of when you look at fabrics like this. So drop that in the live chat and share that information with us. You know what I forgot is, how did you let me forget the question of the week? For them to be able to earn a chance to win the sample that we can't find. I mean, how could we forget that? It's okay. I know. Which camera are we on? Yeah, let's switch over to talking for a minute. Okay, so we usually have a question of the week that we ask each week. Hopefully, I'll remember to put it in the beginning of the live chat when we broadcast this on Tuesday. We ask a question of the week and then we look for answers in the chat and put those names into the wheel of names, and someone wins the sample at the end of the broadcast. I didn't think of a question of the week ahead of time, so I'm going to think a little bit on my feet here and wonder, what do I want to know from the Golden Anchor quilting community? What do we want to know is, we were just talking about that. That's the perfect question. Thank you. So we are going to ask for our question of the week. What day of the week and what time of day is the perfect time for us to have classes here at Golden Anchor Quilting? So we'll use that one. We were just talking about that in the classroom as we were brainstorming not even an hour ago. So that'll be our question of the week. I'll post it at the beginning of the live chat too, and try to remind you folks a couple of times while we're broadcasting for the rest of the broadcast. Okay, so we've got these cool fabrics, and then we have the black and white fabrics. I don't want to take the whole kit apart, and I forgot to bring the panel in. How good is that picture? Can they really see that? Or is it kind of blocked by the bag? So this, take the pattern out of the bag. Okay. Izzy helps me with what you guys can see on the camera. So this quilt, is that better or worse? Should we try the little one? What about right here? What if we go to right here? Oh, there we go. Yeah, better? Okay. So this Quilt Box Designs Day and Night pattern is made with 4 panels. That's where the big chunks of black and white floral come from in this quilt. And then there's a really, really fine black and white stripe. And we chose that purple and that teal to go in it. How's that for a view? Is it good? Okay, so the purple and teal are there. All right, and there's that really, really fine black and white stripe. So we have someone making up a sample of this, and you'll get to see it made up soon. But just in case it is just something you can't resist making, before we have the sample, we have the kits. It's $84.95. It includes all of the fabric for the quilt top. So 4 panels, 1.25 yards of the stripes, and a 1/2 yard each of the purple and teal, as well as the pattern for it. I'm thinking this quilt in particular would lend itself well to thread painting, or Izzy looked at it earlier this week and said, ooh, what about fabric markers? We could just color it in like a coloring book. So lots of fun and potential to be had with that kit. And those are the new fabrics that we wanted to share. I think we're ready to go ahead and make our cord keeper according to the list that we've got here. We're trying to keep Louisa organized. It's, it really takes a whole team to keep Louisa organized. All right, so I have lost the sample that I had already made, but what we're gonna make is a small cord keeper, and you'll get to see what it looks like when it's all done. When I finish this one, instead of being able to show you the sample ahead of time. I don't have any pockets. I can't have put it in my pocket. What you're gonna need to make this is a square of fabric and a square of fusible fleece or fusible batting. And the size of the square is really gonna depend on your goal for your finished project. This one is a 6.5 inch starting square, and you'll see the size that it ends up when we've made it together. So I've got a 6.5 inch square of fabric and a 6.5 inch square of fusible fleece. Toss it in. Woo! This sample really does not want to be shown tonight. I think that's the problem we're having. That or Louisa has no coordination from crashing, or Izzy's not a great tosser. Okay. So here it is. Here's what it looks like when it's finished from a 6.5. Should I go back over to this one to show it is? What do you think? I think so. Is that a great view? Okay, good, good. So we've got a button here with a hair elastic that we've sewn into the edge. When it opens up, there's a little piece of rickrack or ribbon there. That's optional. If you didn't want to stick that bit in, you could just make it wrap around. I put that there so that I could tuck my ends crisscross into that and then roll it up around and close it up with the button. I felt like that was more secure from having it not fall out the sides. So that's what we're going to make. This is the size it ends up when you start with a 6.5-inch square of fabric and batting. Okay, so you've got your square of fabric, your square of fusible fleece or fusible batting, some thread, and a button, and a hair elastic, a hand sewing needle for sewing the button on, and a little piece of rickrack or ribbon that you can use to make that inner holder portion. Oh, and some pins. All right. So we're going to start off by fusing our fusible fleece to our fabric. And fusible stabilizers and interfacings like this have a bumpy side and a smooth side. The bumpy side is your fusible side, and the smooth side is the non-fusible. And would you grab me an applique pressing sheet? I forgot about that. So an applique pressing sheet is a tool that we can use when we're fusing things that have stickiness to them, right? That are going to get icky. Right on the front of the black rack right here, sweetheart. Right here. Look at me. Look at mommy. Eyes on mommy. Yes, one of those would be perfect. Thank you. And what it does is protect your iron from getting gunked up with, no, please don't throw that one. Keeps your iron from getting gunked up, or your pressing surface, depending on which way your fusible is facing. So you just kind of lay that over what you're trying to press, and then press down. And when you're fusing something like this with your iron, you want to press and hold and then lift and move somewhere else rather than gliding your iron across the surface, because if you glide your iron across the surface, you will likely create wrinkles in whatever it is you're trying to fuse. Okay, so we've got that fused. And then our first step is going to be making a couple of markings. So we started with a 6.5-inch square, and our first marking is going to want to go 1/4 inch in from one side. So I'm going to line my ruler up at 6 1/4 over here and make a mark so that I know that that's 1/4 inch in from that side. And then it would be 1/4 inch from this side would be the equivalent mark. So the halfway point is the 3 inches. And then you're going to know that when you fold that, you've got 1/4 inch for your seam allowance over here, and that's folded at the halfway point so that you can put your hair tie at about halfway between. I cut out the little glued part of the hair tie because I found it was easier to get the hair tie to stay in a position that I thought would work. And you want the ends that is going to operate tucked in, and the ends that you want to hide outside of your cord keeper spot. And then you're going to try to pin or clip to keep that in place. And this is the part where I found the clips helpful. The other part is the part where I found the pins helpful. So about halfway between that 1/4 inch in and that halfway mark is where you want to clip this. Oh, she's yawning. Somebody tell her that's not okay. Okay, so we've got our hair tie clipped there. And this is the moment to decide whether you're going to want that inner wrap. If you do want that inner wrap, you're going to mark about 2.5, almost halfway up, a little bit shy of halfway up. So this was a 6.5-inch square, 2.5 inches up, and again in the middle. And you tack that down with some zigzag stitches to really secure that in its little spot if you're going to do that part. So we'll do that on this one since we did it on the sample there. And I like to leave my rickrack a little bit off center like this rather than perfectly lined up to make this little spot. I feel like it gives it a little bit more ability to grab the cords and the pieces there. So I'm going to do some straight stitching first and then secure it with zigzag. Back stitch across. And you know, we've been having fun sewing on machines that are available for purchase here at the shop while we're doing this. So this one I'm sewing on tonight is a Janome 3160 QDC. And if you're interested in this machine, you can give us a call and we'll let you know about pricing and features. It's a really great little machine, has a start stop button here or foot pedal operation, and lots of built-in alternative stitches. I am looking to change us over to a zigzag, and then to make that zigzag stitch just a little bit longer than the standard. And then we will zigzag across and back. And then I'm just going to pick up and shift over and zigzag across again. And we're doing this here before we seal everything up so that our stitches on the back here won't be showing on the outside of our piece. All right, so with that done, we're going to fold this in half, and then we're going to clip over our hair tie through all those layers. And we're going to pin or not pin, you know, we've talked about this, Golden Acre community. I am not much of a pinner, but I'll pin here just for fun. And we'll see if I can avoid sticking myself. And we are going to sew, what's that? Place your, yeah, Izzy says place your bets. What's the chance Louise is going to stab herself? Okay. And while we're doing this, I'll just remind folks, in case you joined us a little bit late, that the question of the week this week is, what day of the week and what time of day is the perfect time for us to have classes here at Golden Acre Quilting? And that question can be answered in our live chat. And by answering while we're live, you get a chance to win the sample that we make tonight. Or if I make a mistake on the sample we're making while we're live, then you can use that to win the one that I made when I wasn't also trying to be live. And we're going to backstitch over a couple of times where that hair tie joins so that we don't lose that when we're attaching it to our button. With my needle down, I'll lift my presser foot and rotate on that corner. I'm not going to sew all the way across. I'm going to leave an opening before I get all the way across there. And I think I lifted my presser foot before I hit the cutter. So I've only sewn across the short side and partway up the long side. And I'm going to skip 2 or 3 inches there and then sew again. We had a lot of fun at the Quilt of Valor kit cutting days. We shared snacks and stories and lots of support for each other and inspiration. Really having fun playing with the donated fabrics and seeing what we could make work into some beautiful quilt kits for people to sew that weekend. All right, presser foot down. And then we're going to, let me see if I can get this over there for you to see. I'm really terrible about how do people make themselves put their pins back in the pin cushion while they're sewing? All right, so we're going to clip these up, as he says. We're going to clip these corners so that when we turn things right side out, that bulk is gone. And then, what's that? The hair tie, I mean, you can leave that there, give it a little bit, it won't bother anything. So you can trim that off or you can leave that there. That's why we backstitch to reinforce really well there. All right, and then you separate it where the 2 layers of fabric are and turn right side out through that hole. Yep, and then you use your turning tool to really get the corners poked out. Yep. Oh, gracious. Yeah. It's been quite the week here. We've had snowstorms, and we had a wonderful time with the snowstorm sale and the prizes that we did with that. And Had the Quilts of Valor kit cutting days and got some new fabrics in. What's that? Oh, you're right. Thank you. So Izzy was just pointing out that I tucked in these little flaps here to get them ready for top stitching. And I didn't talk about it. I just kept going. So when we first turn it, they're kind of out like that. You just tuck them in and then they're ready for top stitching. So we only have 2 steps left in this project, which is top stitching around the outside to close that opening and sewing on the button. And then it's done. It's such a quick and easy, fun thing. Great little gift to give. I mean, who doesn't have a gazillion phone charger cords or... Oh yeah, people who are more organized. Thanks, Izzy. Oh, I'm stuck there, so I'm going to get my hump jumper. That's our tool. Has a thin side and a thick side and an opening for where your needle goes. You lift up, put it under your presser foot and over your fabrics. And then when you put the presser foot down again, it's able to move the fabric and get over thick things. It's pretty fabulous. It's pretty fabulous. The hump jumper. And it saves you from putting your fingers under there, which 0 stars, don't recommend. I've lost a lot of fingernails to doing that when I couldn't find my hump jumper in moments of sewing. So as I'm coming down this side, I'm making sure that those little edges that I tucked in for top stitching are staying tucked in. A tool that might be helpful for that, if you find that it starts to bunch up right in front of the presser foot, is a stiletto, or a purple fang is another version of that tool. But that way you can keep it flat and traveling under the needle and under the presser foot and making sure that you're catching all of that for top stitching. And I'm leaving my needle down when I turn so that I stay in the same spot. And that looks pretty thick again, so I'm going to get the hump jumper for that corner. Okay. There we go. And then my stiletto to help this little corner. What have people been working on this week? What projects have been inspiring you to sit at your sewing machine and play with fabric? I think spring is almost here. They keep telling us. We can always hope, right? Giants, I know, they actually had to bring in bulldozers and big equipment to shift around the snowbanks in the plaza because there was so much snow. Yes, yes. Izzy walked over to Market Basket today to get lunch, and it was quite the adventure getting past those snowbanks. Okay, so then you've got your hair tie up here and your little bit of rickrack or ribbon in the middle. And when you get ready to sew your button on, you're going to find a cord, preferably the cord you plan to use this with, right? I mean, I think that would make sense. And this is how I figured out my button placement. So I put my cord in the middle where it was going to be like that. And then I rolled it around and I thought, oh, look, that's about where my button should be. And then I held that spot, let everything unwind. And almost every time I've done it, the button has ended up just a little bit beyond where the rickrack is stitched. Same thing with the one I made before. So the rickrack is there, the button is here. So you're just going to use your favorite method to tack a button onto the opposite side from where the rickrack is, and then your cord keeper is done and ready to use. Isn't that fun? So a slightly bigger square would give you a slightly bigger cord keeper. Slightly smaller would give you a slightly smaller one. So on and so forth, right? If you have any questions or get stuck on this project, we're happy to help you. We have 2 drawings to do before we end the broadcast. One is the wheel of names that we do for someone to win the sample that we've made tonight. And the other is throughout the week when people pay with cash or check, we put their name into a drawing for a $10 store credit, gift card, coupon, whatever you want to call it, that can be used on purchases in the store. So we're going to see who's winning this week's $10. And it is Bev Ledoux. Bev, congratulations. That'll be here waiting for you for the next time you come to register for classes. I know you like those 12 months of gifts classes, so you could get $10 off your next one. That's super fun. And we're recording this ahead of time, so I'm going to talk about the Wheel of Names and then the future me on Tuesday, or the past me on Tuesday, depending on when you're watching this. In the background, while I'm in the live chat, is going to draw a winner and announce in the chat who won. And we're just going to congratulate whoever that is. Yay! Thank you. And we will get you the cord keeper that we have all made up here on the show tonight. And I think that wraps it up. We appreciate all of the time that you spend with us here in person on our Facebook page and sewing. Even when you're at home sewing, we appreciate that time that you're dedicating to the art of playing with fabric and thread and fiber. It's a really beautiful thing. And we look forward to the next time that we can see you in person and give you a hug if you want one. Come see us at Golden Anchor Quilting, where community is the fabric of our dreams.